Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and today we're talking about what is easily now my favorite rogue build. This is the ultra fun, super effective, double core rapid flurry build. After recently making my rogue and power leveling it up to 70 plus, I covered Death Trap, and then at 80 we covered Penetrating Shot. During that I noticed how popular flurry and the concept of that ability is, and it's easy to understand why. It's this instant pop AoE around you. Penetrating Shot requires positioning and slight setup. Even Twisting Blades requires sort of intentional movement to drag the blades through the pack. But flurry, you just get in there and spin. It's an instant AoE and that feels great. The problem with that is it's absolutely dire single target, which becomes a major issue in any boss fight, but even sucks against elites. So I was wondering how I would be able to address that, or if that's just going to be the state of Flurry Rogue. But thankfully the issue has been completely nulled by the brilliant Wadijo. He's a well-known streamer who successfully reached level 100 as a hardcore true solo rogue. He was the first to do that. But now he's turned the whole flurry build concept on its head after posting this short video about the rapid flurry concept. And since then, this build concept has grown to become one of the strongest a rogue can even play at this point, so I knew I had to try it. Today I put together my best version of that build concept, the double core, rapid fire and flurry rogue. And like I said, this is easily my favorite rogue build so far. You jump in, pop massive packs instantly, all thanks to the instant damage that takes out both weak and strong enemies in one satisfying imbued explosion. Meanwhile, if there's ever a single target with any health at all, you can just jump over to them and rapid fire smash. Shooting tons of arrows into one target from point blank deals a lot of damage. And there are a few ways we can make that damage even stronger. It's incredible in a boss fight where you would normally be screwed with a standard flurry build, and yet somehow rapid fire is so strong even without like proper investment. We don't have to get any specific gear aspects to make this work at all. And in this build we keep our fantastic mobility as a rogue with both Shadow Step and Dash. We Shadow Imbue for the extra damage pops on single target or AoE. It all synergizes really well. We're picking up a couple vital legendary nodes from the Paragon to help enhance the power of either flurry or rapid fire, and with the perfect unique Condemnation to enhance our combo points, it's all popping for really nice burst. And another awesome benefit is the fact that we're not having to invest at all into resource generation. Thanks to both the key passive momentum and also with all of our attack speed, we can spam punctures super quick, apply vulnerability, build up 3 combo points, activate the expectant aspect, and build a ton of energy when we do that. So basically you building up and popping, but doing that really quick constantly while moving around the fight to say important targets to rapid fire destroy them. This has led to incredibly quick Nightmare Dungeon clear times. Really fun. What a cool concept. Again, big shout out and thank you to Wadijo for realizing that and sharing it. But now let's explain my version of this build. We'll begin as always with the skill tree, and as always I'll just quickly scroll down so you can see where I've spent all my points and pause if you need to. To begin with, we're picking up Puncture, which is still, even after the buffs, the best basic by a grand slam. It just comes down to the fact that it provides CC constantly and also provides vulnerability on multiple targets in one use. It's just super effective that the others just can't compete, so hopefully we see all the buffs. Then we have our cores. Of course, we're running max level Flurry. We're enhancing that, which gives us a bit of healing whenever we deal Flurry damage to a CC'd or vulnerable enemy, which is all the time, especially when we pick up Advancing Flurry, because if you evade, aka dodge, then Flurry, it stuns enemies, which is awesome. With that in mind, we're definitely going to be enhancing our CC damage in the Paragon section. The other core is, of course, Rapid Fire. We max that out and enhance it. Each continual arrow of Rapid Fire deals increased critical strike chance. Then with Advanced Rapid Fire, after that evade we just mentioned that enhances Flurry, it's also going to enhance your Rapid Fire, giving it 30% times increased critical strike damage for 3 seconds after that evade. So yeah, every time you evade, your Flurries will stun and your Rapid Fire will deal outrageous crit strike damage. But while we're here, the 3 out of 3 Sturdies giving us some nice damage reduction, and 3 out of 3 Siphoning Strikes gives us nice healing when we crit strike close enemies, which is all the time. Down on the next tree we have our agility stuff, of course Shadow Step and enhancing it. We're going for the stun version from Methodical this time, just because we are getting improved damage on hard CC like that, as well as the benefits of being able to target stun. Then we go for Dash and its enhancement. This is what's causing enemies hit by Dash to take way more critical strike damage, so dashing targets you want to blast is an important aspect of this build. As always, we're going maximum on Weapon Mastery, improving the damage there, and then the important passives here as well. Firstly, Concussive. Whenever you knock back or knock down an enemy, we gain increased critical strike chance against them. We're doing a lot of knocking down and dazing through one of our aspects we'll talk about later. With that in mind, one level in trick attacks means when we do quickly strike a dazed enemy, they're then knocked down. This is happening all the time, even with only 1 point in this. Next is rapid gambits, which I have 2 levels in. This is helping reduce the evade cooldown to synergize with the enhancements of flurry and rapid fire. Tied to the daze concept, every time we daze someone, it reduces it by a full second at 2 levels. I found that 3 levels is a bit overkill and 1 levels is a tiny bit undercooked, so 2 out of 3 actually works really well. Down on the next tree, we just pick up a couple passives, the all important exploit to improve our damage to healthy and injured enemies, and malice to improve our damage to vulnerable enemies. Then our imbuements. We're running the shadow imbuement build, so we're maxing that out of course. We're going to enhance that and go for a mixed shadow imbuement, improving our non-physical damage to those infected currently by shadow imbuement, making them more likely to die and blow up, and that's going to spread the damage. Also here I have 3 levels of frigid finesse. This is because I am running the unique boots penitent greaves. If you do not have those, I will provide an alternative suggestion in the gear section, but it also means you shouldn't put 3 points in here and instead use them on anything else. Down on the tree with ultimates though, we're just getting the passive adrenaline rush at 1 level so we can get to haste, improving our attack speed or movement speed depending on how much energy we have. Lastly, our last point is the key passive, momentum, generating stacks of momentum through our cutthroat skills, and at 3 stacks we get increased damage reduction, energy regen which is major, and a benefit of movement speed. It's a great key passive. When it comes to specs, this is of course a combo points build, so we're running combo points. But now it's time to talk Paragon. As I hover over each board so you can see where I spent my points, I just want to highlight the fact that I'm level 84 right now and I need a few more points to complete this in true. As you can see, my final glyph isn't actually active. We're working our way on that and I'll explain that as we go. We're going to come from the bottom and head right to pick up Prime as always, making our way through and up to the glyph itself, which is Control. Control increases your damage massively to slowed or chilled enemies and doubles that against stunned or frozen. This is majorly increasing our damage to anything that is stunned or CC'd in any way. Getting this in your starter board is important because it's very easy to get the intelligence you need, and the starter board has a load of intelligence you can get. While we're here, I make sure to pick up Lawless and leave on the left side through Skillful up to our first board extension, which is the Exploit Weakness board. I think every rogue build is going to be doing this every time. Improving your vulnerable damage is something every rogue's going to want, and every rogue is also going to want combat to improve the critical strike damage of your core skills, as well as making them cheaper on the energy. We'll enter this board from the bottom and head up and to the left to work our way to the glyph socket where we will put in combat. This requires 25 intelligence to get active, so this is how I achieve that, by picking up the rare nodes around it and the intelligence nodes to get that active. This is a really important glyph though, so I will come back here to spend more points on intelligence when I have the points spare. From there, we'll head to the right and up to the exploit node, improving our vulnerable damage even further, and heading up and to the left and around to pick up exploit weakness. From that point, we can head up and to the rare node unassailable, reducing damage taken from vulnerable enemies, which is nice, and head to the right to activate our next board. This though is the cunning stratagem board and just works as a perfect, efficient way to skip to another board and pick up a glyph on the way. But we must acknowledge dominant, which is a really good reason to pick up this board as well, improving your core skill damage, which is a major benefit. Having it as my 3rd board also means I can get dominant secondary effect active pretty easily. We enter the board on the left here, coming up and to the left straight to the glyph socket, where we have exploit, improving our vulnerable damage. This is another one that I feel every rogue build is going to be using. To activate that, we need 25 strength, so I'm picking up the nodes as you can see to get that, as well as Lawless for some defensive perks, and Finisher for extra core skill damage again. And this is another one I will come back to when I have the points to get more strength levels and improve the vulnerable damage perk. We'll leave that to the right, coming down to pick up dominant and the magic nodes around that, and head up to the next board where we're going to activate the next board that matters, Tricks of the Trade. This is how we're enhancing the next marksman skill damage or the next cutthroat skill damage. Because puncture is a marksman skill, it means your flurry is always getting this benefit, which is amazing. But you can use dash or shadow step to enhance the next marksman skill, to then enhance your rapid fire. Super good legendary node, we certainly want that. So we'll enter from the bottom, coming straight up and to the left to activate the glyph socket where I have Chip. Chip synergizes great with rapid fire. Secondary effect causes physical damage to increase the damage an enemy takes from us up to 10% times for 15 seconds. So every single target you're blasting with rapid fire, Chip is skyrocketing that damage every arrow that continuously hits. And as we talked about in the skill section, that's also improving your crit strike chance on that target. So it's just really good synergy with rapid fire. Also, you get physical damage increases, which is both flurry and rapid fire. So what a good glyph. It does require 40 dex to get going though, but specifically on this board, even when it's not level 15, we're able to get enough dex on this board, which is really nice. And you'll also notice I'm ignoring Lawless right now because I can't afford it because I don't have enough points. I will come back for this in the future. As we leave the glyph, we go up and to the right and down and around to pick up tricks of the trade, and then we'll head to our final board by leaving straight to the left to get to this board. This board is the No Witnesses board. We just care about a glyph socket that's easy to get to. The glyph we're using in this case is Turf, giving us another damage modifier in improving damage to close enemies, but its secondary passive is a straight 10% damage reduction against close enemies. At this point, a little bit of extra damage reduction is certainly a nice thing, and this is going to give us a permanent version of that. Right now, as you can see, I'm still getting enough levels to get 25 strength to get the secondary effect to trigger, so naturally I will be picking up strength wherever I can get it, but I also plan on picking up both knowledge and training for the health perks and the damage improvement. But yeah, once I've actually got the secondary effect of Turf going, I'm going to come back and pick up Lawless and then spend the rest of my remaining points all the way to level 100 to basically level up the glyphs, picking up intelligence around combat, intelligence around control, strength around exploit, dexterity around chip, and more strength around Turf. All of them are good, and that's where the rest of my points are going to go. Next up then, we have our gear. Starting with the two uniques, we have Condemnation. This enhances the damage you can deal with your combo points up to 40% times. Unfortunately, I have a low roll, but hey, it's at least a high level dagger that I am using to fight with. The other unique is Penitent Greaves, as I mentioned in the skill section. This leaves behind a chilling trail of frost that we deal up to 10% times improved damage to those chilled enemies. A great way to improve your damage on a boot slot that normally can't. Here, I would recommend Ravagers on a normal pair of boots if you do not have this unique. But with the uniques explained, let's look at our weapons. First, on our crossbow, for its vulnerable damage increase, we have the Edge Masters aspect, which is reaching up to 40% times increased damage based on our primary resource available. The more we have, or at maximum, that's where it's going to increase it the most. This is perfect synergy and why we have it on our most important slot. Our other weapon is a sword. Ideally, you want swords for the critical strike damage passive they have. On this, I have the aspect of the Expectant. Attacking with enemies with a basic skill will improve the next core skill cast by up to 30% stacking times damage. So this is why you want to puncture 3 times before then flurrying or rapid firing, on top of the fact that it guarantees you have 3 combo points for Condemnation. Then we have our armor, starting with the helmet. Here we have the Mangler's aspect, which I would recommend you don't ever have on an offensive slot. I have it on my helmet in this case. This is a really important aspect to benefit from the passives we talked about in the skill tree, because it's how we get the daze effect consistently. As we damage vulnerable targets, we have a very good chance to daze them for 2 seconds, which leads to all kinds of benefits. Then we have on our chest piece, Might, the second best defensive aspect in the game. Basic skills will give us 20% damage reduction for a top roll of 6 seconds. I'm permanently puncturing, so I permanently have that damage reduction. On the gloves, we have Rapid. Since we're puncturing for combo points and the Expectant aspect, and a host of reasons really, having attack speed on our basic skills is really good. On our legs, we have the Disobedience, best defensive aspect in the game in my opinion, skyrocketing our armor as we attack, making us nice and tanky. The boots are Penitent Greaves like I said, but again, if you want to use normal boots or you just don't have these, I recommend the Ravagers aspect. For the amulet, we have our second most important aspect, which I use to improve my flurry. Encircling Blades aspect causes your flurry to then damage in a circle around you instead of just like in a cone in front of you, improving its damage by up to 23% times. So obviously we want our flurry to be as strong as possible, so having this on our amulet slot helps with that. For the rings, we have Accelerating Ring. Critical strikes with your core skills increases your attack speed. This is great because it's going to further improve how quick we get punctures out. And the second ring is the aspect of Corruption to improve our imbuement. We have up to a 40% times increased potency against vulnerable enemies with our imbuement skills. So we make everything vulnerable, and our imbuement in the form of Shadow Imbuement is much more strong because of it. Those are all the aspects. Let's talk about what you want on your gear. You're looking for Shadow Imbuement levels on your helmet, and on your gloves, this is a really important one. You want levels to both your core skills, Rapid Fire and Flurry. I have +4 to both of them on one pair of gloves. So I wish you the best of luck re-rolling and finding that, because it's really important that you level both of your core skills. Then it comes down to what you're looking for the affixes on your gear in terms of offensive. We're looking for crit strike chance, crit strike damage, attack speed, and vulnerable damage. Those are the most important ones. After that, you can get other secondary benefits like critical strike chance and damage with imbued skills, or just raw physical damage. And on your amulet, I would recommend anything that gives you ranks to all imbuement skills, the Malice passive, or Weapon Mastery passive. Our main stat is Dexterity, so that's always nice to have as well. For defensive and utility, we're looking for the standard stuff. Damage reduction from close and far enemies, total armor, maximum life. A much lower priority in this build is a bit of cooldown reduction, maybe on your helmet. In regards to the gems, I am still going maximum life on my armor. We're going to, of course, go for critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies on the weapons, and skulls for armor in the jewelry. But now let's explain how you play this build. Essentially, you're looking to flurry, smash, spam AoE, while rapid fire the strongest single targets, which is usually going to be an elite or a boss. But of course, you're going to want to maximize your damage, so you want to be as close to full energy before a flurry or rapid fire as best you can. We will achieve that by using puncture, which generates lots of energy. This also helps us build up to 3 combo points, which we want to have before using flurry or rapid fire every time. Further, the expectant aspect is building up the power of your next core skill after using a basic, aka puncture, 3 times. So we puncture targets 3 times to apply lots of vulnerability, generate energy, generate combo points, and the expectant aspect. Then we will flurry or rapid fire. You will do this so quick that it happens in like half a second, but it's basically puncture, 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 flurry or rapid fire, depending on the situation, then repeat. But we can enhance this further. Puncture as a maximum skill will enhance your next cutthroat skill, aka flurry, thanks to our Paragon, or you can dash or shadow step to enhance the next marksman skill, aka rapid fire. So are you going to flurry or are you going to rapid fire? Which do you want to enhance? Also, your dash in general increases your damage against those hit by it, so dashing through targets you're about to blast, whether that's a pack of enemies with flurry or a single target elite or boss with rapid fire, dashing through them is going to be a good idea before you pop. Of course, you don't ever have to go this hard on anything, but it's basically the optimal situation. Ultimately, you're just auto-attacking for a bunch of benefits really quickly, then dropping a flurry on a dash target or a rapid fire on a dash target. And whenever your shadow imbuement is ready to go, you pop it right before you're going to use one of your core skills, avoiding wasting it on dash or shadow step. But there you have it. This is such a cool build concept, right? I am loving it. The way you quickly make decisions on whether it's going to be flurry or rapid fire, and if you've built up or done the right things before popping it, the positioning based on that, the mini CC options you have in daze and hard stuns, the outrageous energy gen, despite the lack of real aspect investment for that. I mean, the only downsides for me with this build right now is that my Condemnation is fairly poorly rolled, but also I certainly need more Paragon points to finish my last glyph and then, you know, fully invest in the current glyphs. But that gives me something to satisfyingly work on all the way to 100 now. It's certainly an endgame build though, because you do need to reach so many Paragon points and little things like that to really reach the optimal point where this works. You know, 2 cores is certainly an expensive concept, but once you're in the endgame, I really recommend you try this. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.